Hey, welcome back to ZK MasterTech. Today we're working on another 8R370, but this one has got a little boo-boo on the fuel tank. Yeah, the inside right dual, the wedges came loose and the tire went into the fuel tank and rubbed a big hole in the fuel tank and leaked out a bunch of fuel. I went and looked at it in the field, and I got the tractor jacked up and I got the wheel back out to where it wasn't touching the fuel tank anymore, just so we could get this thing on a trailer and get it back to the shop. Now we finally got enough room and time to get this cab off, because we've got to remove the cab on this thing to replace the fuel tank. We already got a fuel tank on hand, so now we're just going to go through the steps of removing this cab to replace this fuel tank. I hope you guys enjoy the ride. Let's check it out. So here is where the tire rubbed through the tank. I don't know if I can get in there, but there's a big gaping hole somewhere right there, because she drained out like 100 gallons or so. You know, wherever, how many gallons is about right in here. So she was leaking just like full stream out that hole. So now we just got to figure out what all we got to take off to get this giant cab off. And this is that new style 8R cab. So we got our work cut out for us here today. Luckily this one doesn't have cab suspension, so that's going to help us out quite a bit, not having to deal with that. So it's just a matter of getting all the electrical and hydraulics and AC and heater core lines and all that stuff disconnected, so we can yank this thing up off here. And then of course we'll probably have a bunch of hydraulic lines laid over the fuel tank, a line bundle that'll have to be removed, and then, you know, we can lift that giant thing off, because the cab has to come off, because the fuel tank has like a big section on this side, and then it goes over the top and then back down. So it's all one piece. You can't just pull it out the side or anything. So that's the reason why the cap has to come off. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get this rear end jacked up, and we're going to fully delete the rear duals, because we got to get those out of the way to get to the rear cab mount bolts. So first thing we're going to do is just get rid of all the tires completely. Alright, new Milwaukee does not give a crap about these wheel bolts. I'll try it on the wedges. I got the outside dual already off. This is the new 3/4 1 key. One's a bit tight. Alright, so we got the hub off. Now we got to get this undone. It's just got wedge bolts here as well, and then we can slide this axle, the wheel off the axle, and it's keyed right here. So we'll get the forklift underneath it, put a strap around it, yank it off. So we got the wedge bolts loose. Now we're using the adjuster, 32mm. And that's turning a gear in there. That's going against the teeth of the axle, bringing the tire out. We'll get her so far out, and then we'll hook her up with a strap around the top, put the forklift at the bottom, and pull the wheel off. Alright, so the reason why we're taking these tires off is so we can get to these cab mount bolts right here. And they are super duper tight and have a bunch of Loctite on them, and you need all the throw you can get in there with this giant snap-on 3/4 bar to get those broke loose and out of there. Then we put a little extra safety stand in there just to make us feel warm and fuzzy, because we're going to be removing a lot of weight off this thing, and we want to make sure that she's stable. So, you know, that's mainly holding the tractor up, and then the other one's there just in case something tips, it'll catch on that. Alright, so we got the other outer dual and hub popped off here. If you look in here, you can see where that wedge used to sit, and she scooted in. It was actually farther than that because I actually pulled it out about a ½ inch when it was in the field, but the adjuster here slips. It no longer bites these teeth in here like it's supposed to, so that's as far as I could get this thing. So I don't know if this is going to be a little bit more difficult to get off on this side, but we're going to replace the wedges in here since it's ran loose, and we're going to take a real good look at that axle shaft. So this is what I'm talking about, how it wouldn't move. It's just stripped out. Click. That gear doesn't engage into the axle anymore. See, this is what this wedge looks like. See, it's supposed to move like a disc, but she just slips in there now. So I don't know what got damaged in there, but we're gonna have to get creative and get this off here. All right, well, we got the wheel off fairly easily, just pulling it with the forklift, but the teeth in here, it's hard to see. They are chewed up a little bit, but the main problem was it was shoved in so far that gear was trying to engage this tooth right here, which there's nothing to bite on there, and that's why it was just slipping. If it would have grabbed on this tooth right here, we could have wheeled her off. But now that we got the tire off, you can see the battle wound on the fuel tank where she rubbed through right here. She's got a big hole in her right there, so whatever, it was full when we gave him the tractor, so whatever level that was, that's how much fuel it drained out of it. So that's cool. And you see how it just ate right into that. So if you're on 30-inch rails, you're actually fairly close to this fuel tank. If those wedges and that come loose and that tire can come in at all, it'll rub into this fuel tank. Great. So you can see got another cab mount bolt here, but this is that line bundle I was talking about we're gonna have to get into. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay, status update. We drained the engine coolant here at the block down into a clean barrel. Got the AC machine recovering the refrigerant because we got to undo the AC lines, of course. We got the old John Deere fuel suckulator 9000. We sucked out most of the fuel in the tank. We just put it on the drain on the bottom and sucked it out of there. Now we're just kind of draining out the residual in the bottom of the tank there. So it should be done draining soon, but we're trying to figure out how to get to this front cab bolt, and we got this whole menagerie in our way. So we got to get this all taken out to get to this cab mount bolt that's up in there. So we got the AC lines right there that we got to get undone, and then cab ground, figure out what this electrical wire is going to. Got a lot of little things going on just to get to the cab mount bolts and getting everything unhooked from the cab, and we're gonna have to get all the electrical undone from the back of the cab. So we'll have to take this green panel off and then start unhooking controllers and power wires and all that fun stuff. Got a new technician working with us today. His name's Josh. He's been with us for a couple months. How you like it so far here, Josh?
Loving it.
Loving it?
Loving it. Every day's a new adventure.
Oh yeah. So I got him tag teaming this project with me so we can get her done pretty quickly. So we appreciate Josh and all his hard work so far. He's doing an awesome job. Here we got the back panel off. Now we got to take all this electrical off as much as we can to we're gonna lay this electrical back and probably leave the controllers and everything on the back of the cab. So controllers will go with the cab and the wiring harness will stay with the chassis. So we got the electrical peeled off the back. Got it all hanging off to the side there. And next game plan is getting to this cab bolt that's way up in here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's right around there. So we got to remove this def tank anyway. So we're going to pull that def tank out, and hopefully that gives us enough swing in there to get that bolt out. We were planning on getting to it from here, but you can't get to it from there after a little bit more investigation. So we're going to leave that as is for now. Rip this def tank out. Yeah, you can see that. And those are torqued to what?
435.
435 foot-pounds, and they have a crap ton of Loctite on them, so they're a lot of fun to get out of there.
Be a good time.
Well, I think we're going to call it a day. We'll come back in the morning and go 100% full speed on this girl. Oh, good morning, everyone. So this morning we already ripped the def tank out here. They're sitting on the floor. Had to take that out so we could get a better chance of getting this cab bolt out up in here. Plus it sits in the fuel tank anyway, so it had to come out. So we've got that apart. Got the AC lines just taken off now, and they changed that. They used to just thread together right about in here with O-rings, but now they go in kind of through the floor into those guys. So a little bit different. Got sealing washers on there instead. And now we're going to go on the other side and start taking the lines off the brake valve. Here we go. We got the brake valve right here. Take those lines off. We got some more heater core lines down in there that we need to take off, but we got to get into this steering cylinder on the other side of this brake valve. So coming up with a game plan for that, but I'm sure we'll figure something out. So that's what's next. So we got all the lines off the brake valve there and got our heater core lines off and clamped off there. Show you the other side. Had to remove another shield to get to the steering valve. We got all those lines taken off and everything's capped and plugged so we don't get any contamination in any of the lines. Got 3 out of the 4 cab mount bolts out. You can see these bolts with Loctite on them. They're pretty gnarly. That one's out. That one's out. Come around here. That one's out. Now he's trying to go through a hole in the bottom of the lower plate of the fuel tank to get to the bolt that's way up in there. A real good spot for it. So that's probably the hardest bolt, is the right front corner, but we'll get her, won't we, Josh?
Yeah, baby.
So my big long 3/4 extension, you couldn't get it in the hole because it's too long. So we had to build this little conglomeration here and kind of build the extensions to get it up in that hole, and that's how long we needed to have it. And then we were able to bust that loose, and then I just put the Milwaukee 3/4 on the extension. We zipped that little sucker out. All right, well, it's time to remove this cab. We got the JLG all set up here, so won't be pulling this with the forklift like you see me do in the past. We got a little upgrade here. So we got the eyelets attached to the top. Now all we got to do is hook this load leveler up to our eyelets up there, and then we can yank this cab off. I think it's time for a time lapse and some music, possibly? Sure. there she is. That wasn't bad at all. That new JLG didn't even know that cab was on there. Here we go. Here's our giant fuel tank we got to get out of there. Looks pretty funky without a cab, doesn't it? That is all one piece. So I guess the next thing we have to do is we got to get this harness off of there. Got to get that line bundle off of here. And another obstacle that I've seen that might be an issue, not sure yet, is it goes underneath this exhaust stack. And I'm not quite sure how we're going to get it to go up and out of there with that under there like that. So we're going to have to wait and see here. We're going to just start removing stuff, and then we'll just have to make a decision on what else has got to come off of that thing. So we decided that we're going to have to take the whole after treatment system off, and we're going to try to do it in one chunk as much as possible. He's taking that top cap off there so we can get to some hooks maybe.
This goes under this.
It goes under that? Well, I think there's a clamp that you can undo to take the tip off. And hopefully we can get to the hooks on top of the SCR there.
Yep.
And we gotta get this giant thing out of the way because, you know, fuel tank right underneath it. And then we can take this big cast piece off here. So we got some work to do up in this region. And then of course we'll get those lines and the harness off too. So we got everything unhooked off the after treatment stack here. So we got the top off to where we can get to the little lifting eyelets on top. We got one bolt holding it in, so all we need to do now is hook up the load leveler on the JLG and pick this guy off of here. Well, there she is. We've got room for activities now. We just need to get that cast piece out of there, and everything on this side should be out of the way. line bundles coming out.
Got it?
Yep. Okay. Now we gotta get this plate out of here, and we gotta get all of these wires and harnesses flipped over the top. Trim stick. So the only electrical and depth lines we got left on the front side of the tank. Got lines that are clamped here. There's so many little things. Zip tie fasteners, clips, and they put 2 bolts in it. Oh boy, that's gonna take me a minute. Alright, so we had to get the batteries out and the def dosing unit out because, you know, it sits on the fuel tank, you know, why not? So that's got to come out. And basically the way that this fuel tank is, I think it literally has to just come straight up. You know, there is no cocking it to the side and trying to get it out this way. Just the way everything just fits so tight. So I think this whole electrical load center slash step assembly is going to have to come out because, you know, that piece right there is going to go straight up and all that's in the way. So we got everything stripped off the top, line bundles out and everything. We had a block, like they call it a brake valve block, but it's like if you had like trailer brake options and stuff, you'd have like sensors on this block that was right here, and then those line bundles came down here and attached to it. And also, even though we got the after treatment enclosure off, I still think the exhaust pipe is going to have to come off. Because look, this thing's got to come straight up. It's going to hit on this exhaust pipe. And probably this other pipe that goes to the exhaust tip. It helps suck dirt from the pre-cleaner of the air cleaner assembly. Aspirator hose, I think is a good word for that. Anyway, yeah, this has just turned into one heck of a project. She is. Well, here's the aftermath. all this stuff we had to take off. We got the chassis harness just kind of laid up there at the moment, but look, she's naked. Naked. Got the fuel tank over here. Of course, we're going to have to rob some fittings and some clamps and a bunch of stuff on it. So tomorrow we'll get the new tank in here and we'll just, you know, swap stuff from one to the other. And yeah, quite the project. And we did have to, you know, take that exhaust pipe off. The aspirator hose did have some flex. It moved over to the side. But yeah, she's got to come just absolutely straight up out of there or she ain't coming out. But we got her. Well, good morning. Boy, did we tear up a lot of stuff yesterday. That was a lot of stuff we removed off this tractor. I hope you guys enjoyed the ride, but got a new tank in this morning. I'm going to show you this bad boy. Look at this giant crate. So it looks like it already came with new fittings down here. So that's cool. So I'll have to transfer those. I mean, this is a 192 gallon tank, and I don't think they could have squeezed one more gallon in this thing. They literally filled every nook and cranny to fit in this tractor. I mean, that is a crazy fuel tank. So it's already got a vent in it. We don't have to swap that out. Looks like we got to swap the fuel tank sender. And I went ahead and I ordered all these little clips here, zip tie bands, all that stuff's new. It probably won't. Those probably won't be in until Monday. We had some of them, but not all of them. I'll have to transfer these clamps over, and that's just about it. So we should be getting a lot more parts in. Today's Saturday, so I don't think that I got the parts I needed in this morning, but we'll just have to wait and see. So this morning I just picked up all our tools. Make sure we're just going to reorganize, you know, kind of hit the reset button here, you know, get this all swept up, get rid of those drain barrels, maybe clean up this plate here so it isn't just muddy and soaked in fuel. Maybe clean up some of the dirt around the tractor, stuff like that. Just kind of getting my area cleaned up, getting prepped to get this fuel tank to sit in there. And yeah. Alright, it's fuel tank time. Got that one out of the crate, got it kind of hung in place, and Willie's going to help me slam her down. So, this is going to run, this right here is going to run about here. You can see where this one goes here. They go in these little slots here. So, you got to kind of line me up to where it'll go down. We're gonna, this is good, these lines are gonna be tight in there. Alrighty. You'll probably have to hold it. Yeah. But it looks like I need to come that way some. Yep. it is. Sorry, I ran out of storage space on the SD card just as it was about ready to go down, and I thought it was filming the whole time, so I apologize about that, but it literally just went straight down right into position. I just had to kind of work with these lines right in here to get those fished into where they needed to go, but she's sitting in there now. New tank, so now the fun begins of just putting all the stuff back on, cab, you know, basically everything that's laying over here. So that's a good time. Alright, so we got the fuel tank sitting in there. So basically everything we got to do is just reverse order of how we came apart, right? So no big deal. We'll get all the wiring harnesses and the hoses and the clamps and all that stuff. You know, I'm pretty sure I know where everything goes. It's locked up in here, but you know, I took a couple pictures just to make sure. So we'll be able to refer back to our pictures and our brains and put that thing back together, no problem. And we'll get the cab slapped on there, and you know, everything will be good to go. Appreciate you guys watching. I'm kind of blown away by the support of this channel. You know, we're almost reaching 50,000 subscribers. We're getting real close, so you guys can help me push me over the edge there to get to 50,000. And I think I'm going to do some sort of giveaway when I hit 50,000. I don't know what that looks like yet and what I'm going to do, but I'd like to give back to show you how much I appreciate your guys' support and everything. So if you're interested in becoming a John Deere technician, you'd like to do, you know, what you've seen me do here today, you know, check out the John Deere Ag Tech program if you want to really kind of jump into, you know, more of the diagnostics and learn more of the, you know, how electrical, hydraulic, service visor, engines, transmissions, hydraulics, everything works. You know, John Deere Ag Tech program is a really good program to go through. But if you're more of a hands-on person, you just want to, you know, jump into a job and learn from an experienced technician. Maybe you already got experience turning wrenches or, you know, something like that, then maybe the Sloan's Apprenticeship program would be more suited for you, you know, for more of a hands-on learner. So check out the links that I'm going to put down in the description for the John Deere Ag Tech program and for the Sloan's Apprenticeship program. And check out sloans.com. You know, look at all the cool tractors and combines and John Deere equipment we have on our website. You can also check that out. Check out Sloan Express. I'm going to put that link down in there. We got all kinds of stuff at Sloan Express that I think you guys will really dig. But until next time, keep that green iron moving, and I'll see you on the next one.